What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Mike Roach podcast, brought to you by the one and only OXP Media and the Battle Canada series. Now, guys, gals, some of you who are seeing or listening to the podcast, you see this name, Jeremie Kayeye, lead assistant for the Ryerson Rams men's team. Jeremie, how you doing today, brother?
Brother, man, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Now, listen, man, long time no see due to this pandemic. Usually I'm seeing you all around the place, whether it be, in Mississauga at the 905 games when you were there at the time, or I was seeing you at Scotiabank Arena, one or the other. But now you're at Ryerson. Tell me a little bit about how that opportunity came for you. What has it been like thus far?
Well, so far the opportunity has been amazing. The way it came about by accident. As you know, I was at TRC Academy for the past 4 years. And through my relationship that I had with Coach Dave DeVeros, through his son coming into the program, me recruiting his son to the program, we kind of built kind of a mentor-mentee relationship. And basically, he got the job. I reached out to him and I told him congratulations and left it at that. About a couple of weeks later, he hits me back and he's like, well, Jay, so you don't want to be a university coach? I'm like, what do you mean? I love the opportunity. He's like, well, how come the whole city of Toronto has asked to join my staff, but the one guy that I want hasn't asked me to join my staff? And I'm like, who's that? He's like, it's you, right? So when he told me that, he basically said, I'm going to hang up the phone, then I'm going to have you call me back. And if you want the job, you're going to ask him for it. And then I'm going to give you an answer. So he hung up. I called him right back. I asked him for the job. He's like,
how long did it take you to call him back?
It took me like 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right.
But even throughout that process, he's like, look, you're my guy. You're the one that I want. But you still have to go through the process and interview. You still have to meet with the athletic director, and they still have to give the final approval. So I was his guy, and I still had to go in. I still had to meet, and I was able to come away as their top candidate for this job. And ever since then, it's been a great opportunity. And
tell us about some of the teams that you've coached, because I'm looking behind you. I can see some jerseys hanging up on the wall. I see Crown on the right side of you over there. Tell us about some of the teams you coach already.
Well, for some of the teams that I coach, I've kind of done three things. I've coached. I've also been on the executive side, and I've also been on the AAU side as well. So the teams that I've coached, PRC, Team Ontario, Canada Basketball National Training Center, which is more player development, and of course, Nike Crown with the trophy that you see back here. From an executive side, I've coached with the Raptors 905. I've worked with the Raptors 905, the Mississauga Power, and the first time we met, the GTA Pro-Am.
Yes. I do remember that. Yes.
Right? And from an AAU standpoint,
you were coaching in that one too, weren't you?
No, I was the commissioner. I was the director.
Oh, okay, yes, you were the director. Yes, I do remember seeing you there.
So you kind of see the dual roles, and then from the AAU side, Nike Bounce, Grassroots, and Toronto Longhorns, which used to be Corey Joseph and Tristan Thompson.
All right, it's too many teams. It's only a half an hour program.
Okay? Hey, you know what? You have to be available. You have to make yourself. You have to, again, to be able to make it, I believe you have to grind, right? If you're not fortunate enough to have an NBA resume or to have an extensive NCAA resume or a pro resume, you have to put yourself out there and put in the work.
And so tell me a little bit about you, like how much, where you from, where are your parents from, and how much do you know about their families?
So my parents, my mother is from Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. My dad is from the Republic of Congo, which is like right beside each other. So Zaire and Brazzaville. I am Congolese, full and out, but grew up by way of Cergy, France, in France as well too. And basically, we came here and immigrated to Canada. So I do know a lot about my culture, right? I do know of the tribe that I'm from, and
it's amazing.
Yeah. So it's a slogan that I have for myself. I call it know yourself, right? You can't really be yourself until you know yourself, right? So, yeah.
How'd you get your start with basketball? What's your relationship like in regards to the game?
my relationship to the game is basically a grind relationship. I got started by helping my little brother, right? It basically started my little brother, who's currently at the University of Brock right now.
Good baller, yes.
And it got started where I had my mentor, Terrence Phillips, and my late mentor, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, Francis Friedel. And basically these two guys, without those two guys kind of looking at me and giving me a shot to be able to coach, I would not be here today. So they basically threw me to the wolves. So this is how it started. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible.
No, we got time. I like the long versions.
Okay, I'll give you the long version. So first turn, so I show up to a practice and they basically like, hey, who are you? I'm Michael Kayeye's brother. I'm just here to help him out, just to bring him out. It's like, can you come and help us out with a couple of drills? Naturally, I step in, but I don't know what it is. I just take over. I'm just like, hey, I need you there. I need you there. Like, yo, we like your energy. I'm like, wow. I'm like, these guys actually like, the fact that I'm here and I'm getting involved. And basically through that, threw me to the wolves where my brother's first tournament in Newmarket, he double booked two teams. We had a 1 team and a 2 team. So the 2 team was a team that my brother was on. So he naturally said, hey, Jeremy, can you just take over this 2 team for now? I'm going to go with the 1 team to the next gym. We double booked the times and I just need you to coach these guys and just do your best. We ended up making the finals and we lost in the finals. Now, the second tournament, same thing happened. We go down to Detroit and same thing, double book. And Francis Friedel, he's like, you know what? You did well the last time. I'll let you do it. And Terrence, I'll join you with the 1 team. Let Jeremy have the 2 team. Let's see what he does. We make the finals again. But this time when we played in the finals, we played Kyle Kuzma, who was playing a year up. Okay. Right? So we were playing some legit talent down in Detroit. So basically that kind of got me my start. And ever since then, I've never looked back since. I've just been gun-ho and just went through it. And that's how I got started officially in coaching.
Now, let me ask you this. The last, I would say, year and a half have been pretty tough. Mm-hmm. With everything going on in regards to COVID, and even aside from COVID, when we look at the things that are going on with people, whether it be in the US, Canada, North America, all over the world, whatever, but race, social injustice, mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's been added pressure to you being African Canadian when you take on some of these jobs coaching?
100%. And you kind of see it with the shirt that I'm wearing, where it says say their names. I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I am in, but also within the position that I'm in, it is very scarce. Like, it's not a position that a lot of people have or a lot of people can get, right? So the amount of pressure of being the very best that you can be at this job, right? Which is why you made the comment earlier, you're everywhere. Well, because I need to be everywhere, because I need to be able to learn from everyone, right? No job is too big, no task is too small, right? And that's the kind of model that I take. And that's with everything. Even if it's down for me to do spreadsheets, it's down to me to do a player development workout, you want me to coach, game plan, scout, whatever it is, as I feel that as an African American, the opportunities that we lack. And for me to have an opportunity, I have to go all out, because I want to get to a position where I can help everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're African American or not, whoever you are, if you have a hard work ethic, you have a good work ethic, right? And you're determined and you have passion, I want to be able to be in a position to assist, so that it's never a thing where it's just a boys club, right? It's anyone who wants to work, anyone who is aligned, come, right? And that's the model that I basically go by.
What was it like growing up in your household? How were your parents? Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have siblings. I'm the middle child, right? So
the dreaded middle child.
I have 2 older sisters. I have a younger sister and I have a younger brother. But the thing is that I'm a loved middle child. I don't know how these other middle childs have gotten it. Anything I needed, anything I wanted, I've gotten it. So I've never kind of went astray from there. But growing up, again, it's a very close family, close-knit family, very disciplined. spiritual as well too, going to church every Sunday, playing the drums at church every Sunday, right? So again, just kind of being in that environment, I believe has also provided me some extra protection as I go on into the world and follow my passion. I feel like I'm protected by the Holy Spirit. I'm a spiritual guy, and I think it's something that I can carry with myself, knowing that I have an advantage to those that don't believe. I don't knock it. I don't knock them, but I know that I believe I have an extra kind of strength, extra protector with me as I go out there and do his work.
So if God's sitting on his throne right now, listening to this podcast, if you could ask him something, what would you ask him?
I'll ask him, God, don't give me the answers, right? I just want to be able to speak through you. I want you to be able to speak through me, right? And whatever that I'm doing, I want to be able to assist young men, right? To be able to take their situation, whether it's great, good, or bad, and make it better. I want to be able to assist them in that transition so that they can then have great families. They can then assist those that I cannot reach, because then it becomes a situation where we could pay it forward, where we can have tentacles and help as many people as we can.
If you could sit down and learn from anybody, past or present, dead or alive, who would you choose? Who would you want to sit down and just talk to and learn from?
Now, I need to tell you this. I would not choose one. I would have a function, right?
A function?
I would have a function. And in this function are certain names and are certain people from different parts of different successful people. So let's start. Martin Luther King, who I share the same birthday as him, actually this year, whenever it falls on that particular Monday, and Malcolm X. I want to be able to bring those two individuals in is because of their impact that they've had. There were a lot of freedom fighters out there that helped, that assist, that pushed the envelope. Those two prominent ones, I would like to bring those guys in. I'd like to go even further, and I would like to get the group, the Black Wall Street group in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, that's interesting.
I would like to bring those guys together.
What are your thoughts about that whole situation?
The whole situation about it and how it ended is very sad, but how it started is very powerful, right? Not to start a revolution, but just to be able to have those type of minds together, to be able to say, hey, we are going to build an economic power where we are going to empower our community, our people. So the same way that you see the different communities here, you see the Chinatowns, you see the Little Italy, you see all these communities empowering each other, and we're not. So that's the group. From a spiritual aspect, whether it's from spiritual or healing body, T.D. Jakes and Pastor Miles Monroe.
I like T.D. Jakes. Oh, yeah.
T.D. Jakes. And if you look at Miles Monroe, right, you don't have to look at his long lectures. You can look at the little YouTube videos with the animation.
I don't know Miles Monroe. I gotta check him out.
After this, I will send you a link and you'll see it and you'll be like, wow, I see.
All right.
See why, right? And also from a healing standpoint, Dr. Sebi. The reason why I say this
I like that. Yeah.
Because from a body standpoint, I'm sure you remember me from back then. I was a big unit. I was a bigger guy. And I believe that health is wealth, right? And as I got healthier, I felt that I added more value because I had more energy. Right?
But yours was like a major transformation. You didn't just lose, like you lost.
Yes. I went to work, man. I went to work. And you know what? I think it's the fact that I looked like this beforehand, and I got to being that size, I was able to go back. So I was fortunate that I was always in shape throughout my younger years. And it's just in my 20s that I ate the same, but I wasn't training the same.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's what Dr. Sebi is very important, because what he teaches you as far as whole food, natural food, that stuff has really empowered me. And you can see, like, my skin is shining. Like I feel great. The energy's high. A couple more people. Again, I'm young. I'm 33, right? So I got to bring my hip hop guys. I got to bring my Jay-Z, my Dr. Dre, and my Sean Combs.
All businessmen first.
All businessmen first. And hip hop, legendary hip hop talent second, whether they're executive, DJs, whatever it is, MCs, those guys are very successful. And to end it off, I have to come into sports. I need my Magic Johnson and I need my Michael Jordan.
All
right?
businessmen right there.
So you're seeing a list full of billionaires, millionaires, or people that have great impact, right? Because the one thing that is missing, right, from this group of BIPOC representative or people are that the unity has to be there. So instead of me meeting just one, I want to meet with all of them, maybe even more. Maybe you can even add Oprah to that as well too. Powerful people, right? Where we can then come together, and after we come together, we spread out. And as we spread out, we could then have our mini groups with our others and bring those guys together and bring those together and keep doing that. Because once that is established, then you'll kind of see the feeling of me saying, hey, an opportunity is scarce for someone like myself is, you know what? The opportunities are there, right? Mm-hmm. I don't have to feel like I have a gun behind my back or there's a dog chasing me for me to make sure that this opportunity works. I can have that work-life balance. I can feel normal. I don't have to feel the pressure, right? So.
If you can give one piece of life advice to everybody who's going to watch or listen to this, mm-hmm. what piece of advice would you give them?
I would give them the advice that money respects ownership and it doesn't know time. Because at the end of the day, yes, we are doing this for our passion and we're doing this for something that we like to do. But at the end of the day, we got to pay the bills. At the end of the day, we got to be able to travel. At the end of the day, we have to be able to buy the clothes for us to be able to represent ourselves the best that we can, right? And the best way in order for you to build wealth for your family is ownership, whether it's in stocks, it's in real estate, on business, right? Being able to have your foot into something, being able to have those skills to be able to survive, whether it is on your own or through a partnership or through an LLC or a corporation or an organization, because you're kind of seeing it now with the pandemic. A lot of people were not fortunate. Mm-hmm. And that aspect really shined bright during this time, that there's a great transfer of wealth. It's probably the greatest one we've ever had, because you have a lot of people that grew their wealth in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Yeah. Now they're becoming a bit older, so that wealth is transferring. So you're seeing some of these stocks balloon up. You're seeing some of these things just go out of proportion, right? Because the transfer of wealth is happening right before our eyes. And wealth is in ownership.
What keeps you inspired every day when you get up and you go about your day? What keeps you going?
What keeps me going? The biggest thing that keeps me going within the job that I have is that I am able to assist, again, going back to my answer from before, I am able to assist young men change their trajectory. Mm-hmm. The unfortunate thing in elite basketball, you deal with a lot of student athletes that do not come from the very best of circumstances. I am one of them, right? Being someone that came into this country as an immigrant, right? I was not born in this country. I became a Canadian, right? And kind of seeing how it is to build yourself from the ground up, right? And also coming from a situation where I had to build myself from working a corporate job to coaching from the ground up. So being able to change someone's life, being able to assist and be there for them to know that someone is there is the biggest thing that drives me. So these guys will text me at 3 a.m. in the morning. They'll text me at 6 a.m. They'll call me whatever time, coach, I need this, coach, I need your assistance with that. And I am willing to do anything and everything to be able to assist these guys, right? To be able to make sure that they know that they have a big bro that will help them. But now I'm also the same person that's going to make sure that I keep you in line as well too, right? So if you ask a lot of my former players about, yo, Coach J doesn't mess around. The reason why Coach J doesn't mess around, because he sees the potential that you have and he sees what you can do, and he doesn't want you to throw it away. So that's what drives me.
What do you do when you're just chilling, free time? What kind of things do you do?
Free time, again, I am a huge music guy, right? Music is my life. Again, I used to play the drum, so it's something that has never left me. Another thing that I do, and something that I picked up more into this pandemic, is reading, right? Knowledge, applied knowledge is power, but you don't get the knowledge until you actually consume it. So whether it's through videos, whether it's through talking to mentors, and the easiest thing is to reading, because you could just literally grab a book and sit down and read. That is something I do in my time. And if I'm not doing any of those things, or I'm not exercising and working out, I try to spend as much time as I can with my family and friends.
Talk to me about your time with the Raptors 905. What is a typical game day like for you from the morning until after the game?
All right. So a typical day with the 905 usually starts the day before. The night before. It starts the night before because I started as the video coordinator. So I would have to make sure that the night before, that any of the leading games going into it, I had to make sure that those games were prepared. So if there was, let's say the team that we're playing is playing a back-to-back and they're playing us, I have to make sure as soon as that game is done, I have to wait a couple of hours, usually by 1 or 2.
And chop it up.
Chop the game up.
Oh, yeah.
And make sure it's in the coach's hand by 9 a.m. meeting. Now, I do that. I probably send it to them by 4, maybe 4:30. I get a couple of hours of sleep. I have to be at the arena.
But wait, how do you chop the game up though?
Oh, I chopped the game up via laptop. So we had a program called Sports Code, and I would take the game during that time. G League games used to be called the D League. Games used to be on YouTube. So I would have to wait until they processed. I would download it, put it in the program, cut it up, and then I would send it back to the coaches to make sure that they have it available and ready to go.
Now, what exactly are you cutting up there? Are you cutting up specific players? Are you cutting up certain plays on offense and defense? Like, how does it work?
I'm cutting everything. I'm cutting offense, defense. Within the offense, defense, the results of that possession, who shot it, what type of play that they ran, if it's similar to something that we have. If not, the action that they ran it. Right. And it's literally it's a lot of buttons, a lot of little buttons that you have to click and make sure that that you get it done. The good thing about it is that during those times, like a stop and rewind, but during a live game, it goes. So you try to get the basic of it during a live game, and you go back and you re-edit it again.
I would not want to be the guy who does not get that done by 9 a.m.
And that's usually why you see most of those guys end up being the head coach, because those guys are literally grinding it in that video room, and the guys that survive are the guys that usually make it, right? And then from then on, I was also the equipment manager for the team, right? So I had to make sure that before practice or before the walkthrough that everything was ready. So 9 a.m. the coaches meet, 10 a.m. or 10:30 would have a walkthrough. Sometimes they'll go till 11. Now, I'm also the equipment manager, so I have to make sure everything is ready on the coach's side and the player side. Another thing that I did within that
you're like Martin in Martin Lawrence show. You're playing like 8 different characters.
I'm not done. I'm like Eddie Murphy, sorry. Eddie Murphy had Coming to America. But I was also working with logistics. So basically making sure that getting our players from the hotel that they were staying down the street to the arena. And also if the team flew in, or if the team from the night before came in the night before, I would go pick them up from the airport and bring them.
Oh man.
And it is a juggling act. Now, let's get to game time. So we did all that. Another responsibility that I have was the equipment, basically kind of volunteers and part-time staff. So making sure our referees were great, our opponents were okay, and just making sure that we had rebounders on the floor was swept during the game properly, and just things are just running properly. If I needed a runner, I'll call one of my guys. I need you to run this to the team bench. They need an extra towel. We need an extra jersey. We need this. Whatever it was, I had a team of people that I was responsible for. Now, game's done. You got to drive the guys and the team back. You got to be able to do the laundry. Boom.
Oh,
You got to be able to cut the tape and make sure that the tape is cut, or that you bring it to the assistant coach and make sure that he can make his final edits so that we can review that tape of that game. As one part, making sure all the equipment that the equipment staff put away, done. And then also the day after, let's say it was a promotional night, the same day, let's say it was a promotional night and we had t-shirts coming in. At that time, it was Adidas or from Entropy. Because I was at the arena, I was basically unofficially the shipping and receiving guy. Basically, when something came in, hey, Jace, something's here. Okay, cool. I'll take it. I'll bring it into our cage or into a certain area, and then the sales team will come and pick it up. Unless if they could do it, they will contact me for me to be able to do it. So it was a constant juggling act to make sure that all these responsibilities were done. At the beginning, I could tell you, it was basically kind of like, wait, what's going on? But within a few weeks, I actually got a hold of it and all these jobs and was able to manage it. And basically going through that rigor allowed me to go to TRC, which is next, and excel.
all right. So let me ask you this. Now, that job with the 905, how do you sell yourself in the interview to get that job?
So selling myself in the interview to get that job basically was the experience that I had with Mississauga Power, right? As you know, the Raptors 905 purchased the Mississauga Power out of the National Basketball League of Canada to be able to operate at the Hershey Center. So I felt that I kind of had a good inside track within it because I already had 2 years experience from that end. And selling myself at the interview was basically me letting them know that I was willing to do whatever it took to help the team be successful, which is what I believe I did. Right. In our first year, I believe we had the best expansion record ever in the G League. Right. So basically just me selling myself on the fact that I am willing to wake up, be the first one there and the last one to leave.
Man, that sounds like a real grind, dude.
It is.
Like
it
literally everything.
It is a real grind. I think that's what added to the weight that I gained as well too. But looking back on it, I wouldn't trade it for anything because now I am ready for anything. I am ready to be able to juggle multiple things at multiple times and be able to excel at it. And if it's not a thing that I excel in, it's something that I'm going to do pretty damn well in.
You see yourself coaching in the NBA one day?
I definitely do see myself coaching in the NBA one day. That is definitely a goal, right? And I know that everybody has a different journey, and my journey is showing me that it's going through U Sports, right? But for right now, my focus is on Ryerson and U Sports only. If that opportunity does come, perfect. If it doesn't, then I know that I've put my 100% of my focus for Ryerson and U Sport.
Tell me about a time in your life that's been extremely difficult for you, whether it's been going to school and working. Just give me a time that's been really tough for you and explain what you did to overcome that.
That's a great question, man.
Thanks. I just thought of it.
I know. That's a great one. Hey, you are a sharp individual. There's so many times that I can say that I've had that were tough for me professionally and personally. I can talk on the fact of what I just talked about with the 905 during that time where I was literally not sleeping and just working and just making sure that things are running smoothly until I got a hang of it. Then I got my sleep. I can talk about the time at TRC where I was kind of doing the same thing, being the director of ball ops and also coaching two teams, the men's and women's team. And another tough time also is when I first started my career professionally. It's the same time that my daughter was born, which is 2013. And that shift, that decision of I have a regular corporate job, I have a daughter on the way, and I have a dream. But that dream is not paying me.
Mm-hmm.
During those first few years, it's not paying me a dime. So basically having to juggle working my job, making sure that I'm there, especially at night when she was young, to make sure that I try to help out as much as I could. and also following this dream and having people doubting me on the fact that who do you think you are that you think that you could be a coach full time? And looking back on it, those same people are the same people asking me for tickets and gear. So
I like that. Okay.
So I am telling you, going through that period of uncertainty, of not knowing, hey, are you even good enough to do this? Like, do you really think you're going to make it? And now kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think I've seen the light fully yet, but I'm kind of seeing it now. So it's like,
what is it like for you at night? You're laying in your bed, it's dark, it's only you there, and those thoughts are going through your head.
At that time when I was just starting, I wanted to quit because I'm like, the pain that I'm going through right now, the uncertainty is just uncomfortable. But I remember catching myself trying to find any type of way to motivate myself. So you're seeing the names that I brought up and kind of seeing the hurdles and the struggles that they had to go through, right? And me seeing the fact that, hey, that person puts their pants on the same way that I do, puts their shirt on the same way that I do. If we're both wearing a suit, we're putting it on the same way. We're putting on shoes, we're putting it on the same way. So that person that was able to do something spectacular, something special, is just like me. So as much doubt as I have to dig down and believe in myself. Even if I have to fake it, I have to believe in myself because I know that this gut feeling that I have, it's not coming to me by accident because it's not going away. So I have to be able to go through it. I have to be fearless, and I just have to make it happen.
Is this purpose or passion for you?
The passion started when I first started because it was something that I loved because I trained every day. I played basketball every day. It became a purpose once I seen the effects that it's having on those that are coming behind me. I have a group of coaches behind me that are looking to me for me to make it so that it opens the avenue for them to make it as well too, right? I have a group of guys that are willing to go their own lane as well too, and we're willing to get there together so that we can meet each other. We have a saying, I'll meet you at the top, right? So you go your lane, I go my lane, but we'll meet each other at the top.
Jeremie, my last question for you before we get out of here. You mentioned your daughter. I have 2 daughters as well. So before we get out of here, what I want to ask you is, what have you learned about life since she was born?
First off, girl dad gang, big time. Oh, yeah. Congrats on having two beautiful girls. I wouldn't say there's a biggest lessons. I'd say that I've learned a lot of lessons from having my daughter. One of them is the margin of error is very small, right? I have to be focused at all times to make sure that I can provide for her, right? Another lesson that I've learned is that she watches everything that I do, the way that I walk, the way that I talk, what I look like, what I look at, the things that I watch. So it's a thing where I'm like, I have to, again, back to the margin of error, I have to practice what I preach. I cannot preach for you to do this and me doing the other, right? So that's another lesson that I've learned. And another thing that I've learned, again, I think all men go through this, is just to be in tune with your feelings, especially having a girl, right? Women are probably the most emotionally intelligent beings on earth, right? So being able to emotionally engage with her so that she knows that she feels loved, she knows that she feels protected, right? And she knows that she has someone that fully supports her is another thing that I learned, because going through life, I'm just, whatever, I'm going through life. But being able to see that through her is something that I've learned as well too.
Jeremie Kayeye, lead assistant for the Ryerson Rams. men's team. Listen, man, I'm following you. A lot of people are. We're proud of the work that you've done. We hope you keep it up.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to seeing you do some pretty big things in the future, man.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate it. I'm also looking to for you to do some big things because I know you're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. But I also wanted to say this before I go, that to all the BIPOC, to all the people that are representative of the BIPOC community, really need you guys to be able to band together, especially during this time, not to start an uproar, not to do anything destructive, but to be able to build your community. We have to be able to build our community. I think in the GTA, we're probably one of the only ones that don't have their own designated area, right? As far as, I think maybe Little Jamaica, but again, that's not, it's not a representative of the great stature of the type of people that we have within our community. Mm-hmm. So the message for me to you guys is, I'm willing to connect. I'm a part of the Black Canadian Coaches Association. We have a lot of things in the works that are coming into play. Shout out to my sister, Leanna Osai, and to all the other communities out there. Band together. We have to be able to support each other because not all of us can be as lucky as I am. We have to be able to support everyone.
That's a great message. Do you have an email or something, or something where people who listen to this, maybe if they want to connect with you or reach out to you, can contact you?
Hey, you guys can contact me at my Ryerson email. It's basically jkayeye, which is JKAYEYE at ryerson.ca. You can shoot me an email at any point in time if you want to connect via Instagram. My Instagram is Jeremie, JEREMIE _Kayeye. The same thing with my Twitter is the same thing, and Clubhouse as well too. If you prefer to do more of a discussion instead of texting, then you can join me. The same username is everywhere, Jeremie _Kayeye.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, Jeremie.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, brother.
Take it easy, bro.
No, you too.